All right, Hayden. I have your character here. And here is just some adjustments I had made to them. And I can go over them a little bit. For the most part, we're gonna take a look at this. Let's focus on the head a little bit. So the first thing I did was I really made the thing I zeroed in on immediately was just the front jaw, right? Because this bottom jaw kind of juts out forward quite a bit. He's got kind of like an underbite, and it just looks a little strange. If it was purposeful, that's one thing, but I don't know if it is. So you can see here, I kind of have this like clean silhouette, and I was looking at some of those references. Let's go ahead and I'll bring up um, Slack and see if we can get some of those. Yay, and we're back. So I just went ahead and spent too much time looking at references. Part of it was just for fun. But I'm noticing along most of these, let me go ahead and I'm gonna, okay, here we go. I was just saying that I was gonna get some real life references too. Um, and so here I am in PureRef. I'm just holding C so that I can crop in on these. So yeah, looking at some real life references. But what I was noticing, just based off of what I knew and what to look at, is that the character's mouth and lower jaw should be like further back. And so a lot of these characters kind of support that look. Some of them aren't even, are different types of rodents, right? So like Judy Hopps, I think rabbits are rodents. No, I don't know if rabbits are actually rodents. I feel like I should know. I already know that. That's already there. I'm gonna scale this up. Okay. So, anyways, what I did was I just went ahead and pulled that back. This jaw. I did it. I'll do it again on the other character, but I was just pretty much using a soft select move to pull that back. The thing you'll notice is the eye socket. I kind of made the eye sockets a little bit more angular. You can see with these animals' faces. Ooh, mouse kind of has a little bit more of an angular look. You can kind of see that on some of these. Like obviously this character, uh, they stylized it so he has like small beady eyes in the front, which is cool. But like on a lot of these creatures, like their face kind of pulls back a little bit, like on the sides, and isn't face forward so much. And I think that helps reshape the eyes too, because it gives me a little bit of spacing between the eyeballs, which I think is a little bit more appealing. I reshaped the cheek area. It's kind of like this character's facial shape, or Judy's, or even this character right here. Um, and so you can choose something else, but I think that's a pretty safe one to go with here. I probably would clean up the neck a little bit right here because we have this like kind of flat plane here. But either way, let's see the ears. I just masked those off and moved and angled them back too and scaled them down. So you'll notice scale them down quite a bit and move them back. Hands, what I did was I just masked them off and then it's a bit of an issue there. Um, yes. I went ahead and masked them off and then I just scaled them up a little bit. And then I was reworking the thicknesses. So you can see I fixed that palm right there because it was like has like a bit of an indent in it. And then I masked and rotated the thumb into a more natural resting pose position, which might be up to you and your rigging artist to talk about that, figure that out. I think there was just some small tweaks, so I just added a little volume because he was like kind of like bandy-legged, and so I just pulled that in. And I also added a little bit of like a back to his heel or ankle or whatever you want to call that. So those are the main changes. The eyes I just kind of moved and put into position, and depending on how fast and how far I go, we might try to open this up in Maya. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go here and I'm going to go, let's see, Shift F. I don't know, I did not have this problem earlier, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. Um, oh, okay, I see. I did close holes on those. Okay, cool. So yeah, I guess the model had some holes in it, which I'm guessing is probably intentional. But I went ahead and reworked the proportions anyways. So we're going to go ahead and go here. I'm going to go to copy tool, paste tool. I was just going to make a clone of it. I split to him similar parts. So I just went to mesh, split, similar parts so that I can have these. I hid the eyelids for now. And what I did was I just went ahead and turned on dynamic subdivision, which is found under geometry, dynamic subdivision. You just press D. And so we'll start on this one. Let me go ahead and do yak. Yes. All right. Cool. All right. Sweet. And I'm going to go ahead and just keep working. So we're going to address this lower jaw first. So let's make sure symmetry's on. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and move the jaw back. I'm just using the move topological brush. I switched to the move gizmo by pressing W, just like I would in Maya. And I held Control and drag on the mesh. And so I'm doing that so I can mask off by topology. And it sometimes works. Let's Control drag on the background to clear that mask. Let's do it right here. So this is a good way of masking part of like the top part versus the bottom part. By the way, I'm using just a basic material with a blue color. And so it's kind of working, but at the same time, it's not letting me. So I'm just going to keep mushing this around. So I'm just going to kind of pull all that stuff back a bit. I'll infrequently use like smooth to kind of to even out the surface by holding just shift. All right. Okay. I'm going to control tap on the background to invert my mask. And I'm just going to go ahead and a lot of these, like the little upper muzzle shape is like a little cleaner, right? That transition on the upper lip right there. It's hard to see with Remy because he's got fur on. So I'm probably going to go ahead and get a little bit of clarity in there. Right now, it kind of has this big ridge lump here and softens back there. So I'm just going to come back here and just go like this. Let's go ahead and pull this stuff forward. Again, I'm using that move topological brush. And I might just like smooth this area down a little bit and just flatten it because it's very inflated. I'm going to have to, let's go ahead and invert this. I want to go ahead and just smooth that down a little bit. I might have to reevaluate the topology a bit, especially for this lower lip, because there's not much I can do with, I was trying to mess around with this before, but it keeps pinching. So that might be something I have to like take a trip into topology land to do. So let's clear that mask. I'm going to go ahead and move this back just to get kind of like an even shape. What I might do is I might switch over to the clay brush, turn off RGB, bring down my Z intensity, and I'm just going to kind of, sometimes smoothing doesn't do what you want. So another way to kind of like even out the surface is to use the clay brush. And what that does is it fills in like cavities and crevices and things like that. So I'm just doing that so that if you do shift it, sometimes you can see it just eats away at the surface. So sometimes clay is nice to add volume, but also even out that surface. So if you have weird bumps and ridges, that can save your life quite a bit sometimes. So I'm just going to come down here. I might, let's see, I'm just going to kind of give him a gentler transition for his neck and see what that looks like. If you want to, what you can do is you can store a morph target. So I have this on my user interface, but it's also down under morph target. So if you want to make some big changes, so let's go ahead and we're going to do this on the nose bridge. So we're just going to go ahead and drag his nose bridge area apart a little bit. We'll make his eye socket areas a little more rounded, because when I do that, it gets a little too tall. Okay. Okay, and I think just doing that on the eyebrow ridge, or that nose section, and doing the chin is like already enough to really change the appeal of the character. But anyways, I can come up here and click on switch, and you can see, I can kind of see and compare changes to my model. I'll delete the morph target and store a new one because I like that change. So that can be really helpful. It's just storing a morph target, which just saves a state of your model. So I'm gonna do the same thing I did on the jaw. I'm gonna hold control and click and drag on the topology towards the limb and see how that works. Let's see. I don't think I'm getting a good mask on this one, so I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to drag that here. Come on. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and hold Alt and move the gizmo so that I can move it without moving the object. And I'm going to turn on local symmetry while I'm doing this. It's kind of an annoying feature, but and turn off dynamic. if you have that on. But scaling doesn't always, it scales weird with symmetry on, right? You can see it scales to the center of the world. So I'm just going to turn on local symmetry and just going to scale that down a little bit. Move this back. Maybe rotate it back a bit. Might even move this back in space. Oops. Just move this back in space a little bit. And you can play around with the position. I'm not going to nitpick it too much. I think just scaling it down is kind of enough. And so let's see. I'm going to click on solo so we can look at this. And I'm going to, what we're going to do is this is going to not exist after a while. And actually what I should probably do is let's go ahead and get rid of the inside. So brush, oh, whoa, what is V? Oh, just switching color. BZM for Z modeler. And I'm going to do delete. I'm just right clicking on a polygon, delete polyloop. You can see the little yellow arrow. I'm just going to do that. And I might consider doing that on this one, but I don't think I want to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close holes. I'm going to go ahead and it's under modify topology under geometry, but mine is right here. If I press A, brings up a little context window. I'm going to click on close holes. It's also going to close holes in some of the, I press D on my keyboard to activate dynamic symmetry again. I'll say always yes. So that just makes it faster and easier for me to do. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of smooth out this area, maybe even use, because I kind of want that brow region to not be so sharp, right? Because it kind of is currently like really sharp. Let's just model it to give us some room. So we're just going to pull this out a little bit. Okay, I might grab the eyes. Let's go ahead and just click on this with the move brush to center those, and just we're gonna move these back into the eye socket a little bit. And what I might do is, depends on, turn on symmetry and do that again. Let's put that in the middle. Make sure local symmetry is turned on. I might scale these up and then pull them back. Depends on how stylized you want your characters to be. But generally speaking, stylized characters usually have larger eyes inside their head than what actually shows through. And so you might want to consider, essentially, if you looked at like a lot of these characters, the sphere of their eye is like humongous. So you just have to determine like how you want your character's eyes to appear. But I think that's a good way of preventing your character's eyes from looking like bug-eyed and bulbous. So we're just going to pull that back a little bit. And I'm just going to keep refining these eye sockets until I'm really happy with the way they look. I'm making sure I have perspective on. Let's see. Okay, so I made a morph target, but then I closed hole, so that changed my topology, so I don't actually have a morph target anymore. So I'm going to delete my morph target and store it. This isn't working. All right, so let's see. Let's kind of figure out this neck. I'm just going to go ahead and smooth this off a little bit and then fill in some of these gaps. And just really gentle with the smooth. This right here, we have this kind of like hard plane right here. So what I'm going to do is I'll switch over to the inflate brush, bring the Z intensity down, and I'm just going to kind of get a little volume there like that. And then if it feels too poofy, I can just grab that whole area and just smooth it a little bit. Just run a smooth brush just gently over it. Let's just move. Okay. All right, let's see. All right, so something else I was kind of bumping on, oops, is I'm just going to use a standard brush and I'm just going to draw right here. So that's just going to kind of give me a little bit of a heel object I can work with. I can refine it a little bit more, but I figure this is an area that's not going to be seen very much. Let's see. You know, Zbrush or any type of sculpting program. I don't know what that should look like down there, to be honest. But you know, this is it's a good place or opportunity to like reshape and move things to how they're supposed to look like. So if things are feeling a little too like tubey, which is fine if you're going for a stylized character, but if you don't want it to be so stylized and you want it to be a little bit more anatomical, you know, we'll refine that. I'm going to take his knees. I'm just going to kind of angle his knees in a little bit more. Okay. All right, so I'm noticing there's like a bit of like a hollow cheek right here, so I'm just going to use that clay brush again and just run that over his cheek. He's got a bit of a hard ridge right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and hold Alt with that clay brush and just to flatten that out a bit and remove some volume from that, and then maybe just very gently smooth it. And right, we can just click on switch, just compare. I think those changes on the face are definitely good. Changes on the legs are pretty good. All right, let's take a look at the hand. All right, first I'm going to take his forearm and move it up a little bit. Just drawing a straight line from his wrist to his shoulder. Kind of, I'm trying to imagine like the bone. So it was like kind of angled, like his hand was like a little bit high, which I could just fix by holding control, dragging, and then maybe moving that down a little bit. But I think it's fine in its current state. So it's probably good to make sure it's as straight as possible though. All right, so let's take a look at these. So let's see. So I have this kind of really kind of sharp kind of delineation inside of his back of his palm. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that clay brush to fill that out. On a character, usually you want the middle finger to be the longest, even if it's a stylized character, or even if it's an animal. Sorry, that's what I was going to say. Even if it's an animal, so let's just go ahead and shrink those in a little bit. And the pinky probably should shrink quite a bit. So let's just go ahead and pull that in. Run a negative inflation if you want to like kind of shrink it down like that. You can see it's getting a little funny back here, so I might need to be careful. Whoa. You can also just run the smooth brush on it to make it a little softer. Let's go ahead and just pull that back a little bit more. And let's run that one right there. You can hold Alt and drag to get the orientation of the brush to follow along with the direction of the mesh. So do that. I pull this one in and fan it out. Nah, that doesn't look right. Let's go ahead and just be doing a little mushy stuff. So let's see, let's pull this over. Just gonna clean up this shape. All right, so let's see. So down here in his palm, I'm just gonna use a little clay right here. Just gonna fill in that part. All right. Get a little, just add a little bit of, like the bottom of the palm, if you look at it, kind of extrudes a little bit more from the wrist. I'll just use the move brush for that. This is up to you and your rigger, but I'd imagine what I would do is I would, oops, let's see if this, okay, no, bad masking, okay. Nope, still bad masking. Top it. All right, so let's go ahead and run this on that. Okay, cool. That seems a little bit better. So what I usually do is we'll go ahead and draw this down that way, and you'd usually want to like rotate it a bit down like that. Maybe pull it in, but I think at this point that's actually a pretty good spot. And so we're just going to kind of pull that in a little bit. His forefingers can be fat, so I'm just going to go ahead and run smooth on that a little bit. Okay, I'm going to use clay just to kind of even out this area right here. Using clay with normal mode and, you know, just normal filling mode, like how it normally works, and then holding Alts to push in on the surface. We're just going to use clay down here. We're probably not going to see this area right here very much, or see, it depends on how many close-up, if we get any close-ups on the character's hands. So You know, how much we refine this and get nitpicky on it is really up to y'all's storyboards and layout. Okay. So we can take a look at this. Let's just switch this. There we go. That's a little bit better. Switch. Okay, that's all looking pretty good. He has this really big region between his legs, so what I might do is I might just kind of bring that in a little bit. I'll have to do the same thing back here. So you got the topology for it, but we want to go ahead and this is probably I would want this to be. Yeah, something funky down here. Okay, that's probably from the close holes stuff. So we probably have to fix that topology down there. Let me go ahead and just bring his legs in a bit. And if you don't like, you can see I'm like stretching the geometry a bit and kind of doing a lot of bendy, stretchy stuff. So what I would do is, you know, another thing is you can just mask it off like this and then rotate and move it if you want to. So what I could do is move that in a little bit. Let's move it in to here. And I'm just going to angle his knees a bit so they're a little straighter. It'll honestly make y'all's life a lot easier with rigging. Oh, child abduction. Okay, so then just pull. I'm just gonna make that kind of distinction between his groin and his legs a little bit clearer. Let's go ahead and pull that stuff up. His thighs, we can let that go up on his legs, up his hips a little bit better, or a little bit further. I'll get some more. His belly's kind of and his chest is kind of feeling a little flat and square, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pull. I'm gonna pull this stuff back. Let's try that. Holding Alt with the move brush to kind of move along normals. Okay. It was a pretty big rework, but I kind of like that better, having the distinction for his legs. I don't know if there's something similar to do with the arms. I think the arms are in a good spot, so I wouldn't want to mess with them too much. If anything, maybe back here I might want a clearer separation between his shoulder area and his arms. Okay, let's come back to his face. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. I might compare it to the one I had before. So the other one, what I did on this one, I'm not sure which one's better. Haven't looked at them yet. I actually like the new one better. A little bit more natural. His muzzle, though, what I did was I'm going to make his mouth a little bit more neutral. So I'm just bringing his corners of his mouth down. And there's some weird stuff going on with his mouth, but take a look at that in a little bit. So let's see. His nose gets kind of, if you ever do this, press Control N on your keyboard. So his nose is getting a little funky right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and we'll just smooth that out a little bit. We might have to like increase or modify the topology to help fix some of this stuff, but I'm going to make his nose pretty kind of flat, kind of like this character's nose. This nostril thing kind of gets a bit flatter. Let's see. Little mushroom nose, that's cool. If I want to, I might go ahead and move his nose down a little bit. Okay. And there's like kind of a big gap right here in this little middle part. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take these and move them closer to each other. So we're just gonna move that a little bit closer. I'm just gonna kind of refine this area just a bit. Okay. And we can move the teeth in Maya. I wouldn't worry about that here. You can see I'm using this like semi-shiny material, which is helpful because I'm like looking and trying to see like bumps and abrasions, right? Some things would be hard to see with certain materials like Blinn or Lambert, or sorry, a Lambert material, which is why I'm this is kind of like has like a little bit of that specular reflection on it, which is nice. Okay, I like getting these spans up here for the eyebrows, and getting that enough space, and you can kind of see on this character enough space from the where the eyelids are going to be. The eyelids, I'm just going to say that like I would get this to look good however you want in this direction or in this instance, and then what you can do is uh, we can I would then just model in the like quad draw the eyelids, and that might be another kind of less like recording or kind of session where we take a look at that to figure out how that works. So let's see. Just going to kind of rework the inside of his ear a little bit. Okay, cool. I don't want to spend too much more time on this. You could nitpick it forever, but I think he's actually looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and get this set up in Maya so that we can take a look at the muzzle area, which I think is an area that needs a little fixing. All right, here I am inside of Maya. I'm going to make this a little bit different. I'll make it kind of like similar to my reference inside the other scene. And so he looks pretty good, but I think we could probably like fix up his topology in here a little bit. And here's what he looks like, smooth. So he looks pretty okay. His mouth is just the area that I am kind of like a little want to rework. So I'm going to go ahead and hide the teeth for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to do mesh smooth. Okay, 2. And then I'm just going to set it as a quad draw target. And then we're going to take this original one and I'm going to go ahead and do some quad drawing. Okay. All right, so let's see. Let's take a look at this with the one shaded mode on. It's a little tricky to look at. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of some of the stuff. Oh, let's make sure symmetry is on. I probably want to mirror this because I have a feeling he's not symmetrical, but this part looks a bit messy. Definitely going to get rid of this though. I would definitely reconsider remodeling this inside cavity area. Oh, I think I'm getting rid of edge loops though. Let's see. No, that's fine. Might be worth, let's do face. Nope. Nope. Let's see. Okay, let's just take a look at this guy. I'm not sure what's going on inside his mouth. Face. There we go. Let's do that. Get rid of that. Let's get rid of that hole inside. There we go. All right, let's go back to quad. Oh, I'm actually going to go ahead and separate these guys here. All right, and then I'm going to go back to quad draw. All right, so let's see. I'm going to go ahead and move this up here, move that there, there. And we'll just go ahead and get something like this. I'm going to try to get the mouth to connect back onto itself. This is always annoying right here. You can kind of, I think it works, kind of hard to tell, but sometimes, yeah, it has a hard time at the very center line sometimes. Quad draw. Let's just go ahead and extend those guys back down. It's going to give me something right there. Okay, that looks pretty decent. I'm getting a lot of like collapsing right there, so what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna drag this out here a little bit more. Oops, like that. And then I'm gonna put another edge loop in here, but I'll wait. You know, if you can wait to put your edge loops in, they'll save you a lot more time. So let's see. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go out to here. We're gonna define the corner of the mouth area, and then that goes there. It's good to have like a straight line that goes this way. So I'm probably gonna rework that area over there. Let's move this over here. This is something where I might like ignore kind of what's actually going on the original model a little bit. You know, because we're getting a lot of collapsing in the corner right there, and it's going to be hard. So it might be something where I have to rework like stop the quad drawing, and it's just so I don't you know, kind of work with that flawed kind of piece of geometry. I'm kind of keeping, like you can see, this is like still on the outer part of the character's lips. So, and then this is on the inner part. So I'm probably going to need to move this stuff up. You know, I like to keep it consistent. Let's see. So this is like on the inside of the lips, like that. And this is on the outside of the lips. So if you can kind of keep that consistency of like an edge loop on each side, this is kind of like on the lip line, and this one's also kind of on the lip line, then that's usually pretty good. These are starting to be on the inside of the lips. I'll probably do the same thing down here. I'm probably going to need another edge loop on both ends, right, to catch this edge here and then that edge there. But I'm going to wait to connect them first. So we're going to go ahead and do, let's see. And this is where things are going to get a little tricky because our mesh is getting kind of funky. And I might pull these closer to the corners of the mouth. Let's go ahead and pull that back. Let's see what happens if I delete that. Okay. Pull all this stuff closer. Oops. What did I just do? Okay, those guys look good. Let's go ahead and add that loop in there. There we go. I might give a little bit of space here. So we're just going to go ahead and pull that out. All right. I'm going to delete this for a second. And we're just going to kind of think about this for a second. So this goes up to there. That's nice. I'm just going to hold shift smooth just to kind of let that average out. All right, so this is going to go, like, I don't like the stretching that's going on over here. You know, let's see, I would want this to go something like that. And I would want maybe an edge loop that goes all the way around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to hold control here. The reason why I did that is so I can more evenly space those. And we're just going to go ahead and come down here. Those ones. Okay. Turn on soft select, and I'm just going to let those guys kind of average out. Because my target mesh is a smoothed version, you know, this character might end up being a little shrunken in. So we might, when we bring it back in Zbrush, I might have to like kind of reproject some of my details or forms depending on how much. So you can see right here, that new topology, it's shrink wrapping down to my target. So I just need to be cognizant of that. Might not be something I care about in the end, but yeah. Let's go ahead and pull that down. Let's pull this stuff down a little bit. Oops. Okay, I'm getting a little stretching right here, but I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Let's see. Just gonna relax. All right. So now let's see. Okay, so this can go back here. This can go back here. Just gonna make sure those stitch up. I have this kind of, I could do it right here. Have it go around. I could also, because this is starting to kind of pull out a lot over here, and I could probably use another edge loop down here. Wouldn't be the end of the world, so I might do that. probably going to get a lot less stretching over here from these polygons. The nose is a little strange, so I might honestly I would maybe consider reworking this a bit. Oops. Let's see, let's get that. All right. So I think what's going on here is good. So let's do that. Let's keep that. It's cool, cool, cool. Right. Oops. Extrude this down. I'm gonna have this go all the way around his nose. So something like this. I'll pull this down here. I don't like things being squares at holes, so I'm gonna probably have at least another edge loop in there, which means I'm probably gonna throw another edge loop down there. Let's go ahead and pull that down a little bit. This can come down. This is another spot where it feels like the polygons are stretching a lot. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw another edge loop down here. Okay. I don't like what's going on here, but I don't know if I have the time and interest in fixing it. All right, so let's see. That's okay. That almost feels again like I need another edge loop in there. Because, and then, or especially like maybe right here. So I might have to like drag this over. I'm going to space these out. So holding shift along that edge loop. I'll drag on it, especially over here. We're going to pull this stuff over. Do that again over here. And that way I can space those guys out. All right. And then what I'm going to do is do this. Ready. And we're coming back up here. Probably gonna have to add another edge loop in there. And we're gonna have to figure out what the heck is gonna happen over here. Always the fun part. Figuring out how to stitch these guys together. Let's see. That doesn't look very good. Might add an. It's kind of getting dense in here, so I'm a little hesitant, but I feel like we need to add another edge loop in here. But for now, I might just kind of hold off on that a little bit. Yeah, because I see there's two pulls right there. That's not great. You probably need to add in an edge loop that's at least separating them if you want a good topology. All right, this area in here doesn't really matter what's going on in here, because what we'll do is we'll eventually cut those holes out and then draw quad topology for the eyelids. Let's go ahead and just make sure I clean this up a little bit. You can see how much I'm kind of cleaning things as I'm going. Okay. Oops. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. probably going to get another edge loop in here somewhere, so I might do something like this, where we're going to do that. And I'm just going to go ahead and do, so I'm just redirecting an edge loop like this down here. So I'm just going to go ahead and smooth that out. It's pretty common to do that underneath the nose. I go ahead and smooth those guys out a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and just get spacing. Okay. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Let's do this. Not super cool with the nose right now, but we're just gonna keep going. One thing I'm a little annoyed at myself about is the nostril isn't a ring, so that kind of is a bummer because I like it. I might try to make it a ring. Let's see, let's delete this edge loop and that edge loop. We'll just do this. I want ring topology around the nose, nostrils. Why? Just because. It just makes it easier for me to add in edge loops and things like that. So let's go ahead and relax this a bit. Drop in an edge loop. I use soft select and just kind of drag the topology, because when you have something like this, like a circle or a hole, it tends to collapse really easily when you use relax. And you want to use relax. Relax is awesome. I'm going to add an edge loop in there because this whole area is starting to get a little kind of wide. But you'll start to notice that things start to collapse on holes and things like that. So let's just go ahead and pull this. Just gonna get a little spacing. I'm not gonna bother closing off that area. Kind of want more edge loops in the mouth area here, so I might do something similar to what I did on the nose, which is just adding some edge loops, and then doing well, we'd have to add an edge loop going this way probably, because what I want to do is I want to add that in, and then I want to extrude that out, and then I want it to doing like a redirect inwards like that. Actually, it would be something more like that. And normally, you know, what I would do is do that there, but I can't. Can I do that? Let me go ahead and I'm just going to select this object, vertex mode. I'm going to go ahead and do mesh display, set to face, mesh display, soften edge, just so we can fix that stuff up there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to vertices. I'm just going to click and drag right there. Let's turn off soft select. Just click and drag these guys. And merge to center. Make sure I don't have any other ones. Cool. And let's go back to quad draw. I think this should be fine. Yeah. The only downside is what I should do is I should probably do that either right down here or further down the neck. So let's do that. Because the only problem is kind of like what I was running into right here. you're getting two poles right next to each other. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these guys. And I might have that come down here. So we'll just do something like this. I kind of get confused by this. Like that? What am I doing? No, it's like this. How did I do that? We'll see. Okay. I think I know. That. This one's going to be like this. Oh. That. And there we go. Turn on soft select, and we'll just smooth it out a little bit. There we go. We got another edge loop up here, which I like. These kind of feel a little stretched, so I might have to, I would almost consider adding another edge loop in there, although it's getting a bit dense. I think this is looking pretty good. I'm just going to come around and just clean up the spacing a little bit. One thing is, like, you can see how like tight this gets, but then wide down here. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll just, as long as it's not messing up my forms, and I might have particular edge flow directions that I want to keep them in an edge loop in the right spot. But in this case, what I'm going to do is just to kind of give them a little bit of space, I'm just going to kind of gently drag this down. There we go. And then now when I smooth that out, it's a little bit better. All right. Ear, what I might do is, first, let's go ahead and I'm going to delete this, because you have a lot of ring topology in here, but then you don't. So let's go ahead and get rid of those right there. Let's put that there. This is going to go like this. Okay, this part right here is kind of ugly. Let me get rid of that. Oh. All right, so this is going to come out here. It's cool. That's good. Yep. All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to put an edge loop through here, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. So I can go across there, there. So I would consider, I want this to be a ring all the way around, but in order to do that, I'd have to do that. So this is going to get a little too tight down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and delete an edge loop in here, or delete some disconnect in here, so that means I can add some edge loops in here. I'll just do that. There we go. And I'll figure out how that connects inside the ear later. Let's see, this is getting kind of tight in here. So if I want to add more edge loops, I might consider adding them in a way that's going to, let's go ahead and delete these faces in here. Let's turn on soft select. Oh, we got a little pinchy thingy going on here. So let's go ahead and just close that off. This is a pretty safe spot right here to add like one or two more edge loops. So I'm just going to go ahead and just get those. And just relaxing things a bit, moving some stuff around, doing good things, making progress. Okay. All right. We should probably save. Downloads. Mouse. Okay. Quadra. Oops, Quadra. All right. So let's go ahead and pull that up. I'm gonna put that in there. Let's go ahead and start relaxing some of these guys. Pull that out. Pull that out. This is fine. This is fine. I want this to go this way. All right. we got this edge loop coming here. But I don't have enough edge loops, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna get rid of this for a second. Yeah. This is gonna go here. Oops. And let's get this edge loop right here. Ooh, there's like a, I don't know what's going on here. Must have been from my smoothing. Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, strange. See if I can delete those. Delete that one. I'll just recreate that edge loop in there. Okay. Oops. All right, what does this guy do? Okay. Mission successful. Let's see. Okay. This part right here is definitely giving me a hard time. So the problem is I have 2 edge loops here and I want to get, I need one less to connect back on. So, if I have that go, if I add an edge loop in there, that will go all the way around to the neck, which wouldn't be the end of the world. I don't like this area right here. This area gets really stretchy, so in all honesty, like an edge loop that went, it's got a little crooked. An edge loop that went down like this into the arm, if there was space in the arm for it, could be potentially good. But I'm not gonna worry about the arm topology. I'll let you figure out the hard part. Another option, yeah, there's not a whole lot to do. Because if I just disconnected that, it's really like here. Let's see. Because if I added in an edge loop like that, connect there. Let's go ahead and try this. We're just gonna get the spacing right. And oh, when did that happen? I'll just do that. So yeah, I still have to figure out. Added some more edge loops in here, so I'm going to do something probably similar to what I had done on the neck and the chest. Let's just go ahead and do extrude, 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 connect these guys, and just start bringing these guys in like this. So I'm like redirecting them into each other like that. Then I can connect them. There we go. Not enough though. Let's see. Oops, that's not what I want to do. What is going on here? Why can I not smooth these guys? There we go. All right, so let's see. There's I go that way, that way. Oh man, it's not enough. See, I'm going from 1, 2, 3, 4 to 3, so it's uneven, so there's not much I can do in that. I might have to just make a triangle, which I don't want to do, because I want to just go ahead and close it off like that. I added another one down here, But this is already getting kind of stretched around the ears. I'm not sure if I want to mess around with that too much. I'm going to go ahead and ignore it for a second. I like to, if I'm stuck on something, I'll usually go and just kind of mess around in another area. Just going to get these like that. And then just add some more edge loops. And I can just turn on that soft select and just average that out a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Oh, this is mesh or Windows UI elements. Nope. UI set a show. Display. What's a display? Poly count. So this is that's not even. So that's 13 because I say 26, but I have symmetry on. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave that for. We're gonna have to figure out what to do with that guy right there. Might be something where I just maybe add in another edge loop in here. It won't hurt. I'd have to do something like this, like drop in an edge loop, and then we would do something again, kind of like this. There we go. Then I have to come in here. Let's just go ahead and smooth this out to get a little bit more of an average. And we're just gonna scooch some of this stuff up. Whoa. All right, not gonna worry about that side for now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to see if I can get this. Let's see, yeah, this is too low poly down here, I think. Let's see. This is going to be a bit of a nightmare to figure out, that's for sure. I think I probably am also just recreating a lot of the stuff that's already there. Get rid of that. I kind of don't know how in the world I did that, but it worked. It happens. Okay. I might be a miracle. Let's see. Let's space that stuff out a little bit. That needs some work. And we probably want to mirror this, so let's go ahead and do Let's turn this stuff off, and then I'm just gonna go mesh, mirror, and we're gonna do positive axis, and we're going to, did that transfer the hand? Yeah, okay. Positive axis, set the merge threshold to 0.01, and yeah, just have to clean up some areas like this. Let's turn off soft select, let's get rid of merge center, and vertex, let's grab these, let's merge center. Let's look out for any floating verts from the mirror. Might have to do a mesh cleanup. All right, those can just be merged. It's a lot of space right there. You might want to soften that out. Maybe add more topology down there. All right, not noticing any other major issues. Hands I just filled in for now, but you know you'll want to reconfigure that, and then you'll want to make your mouth bag. But then what I'll do is just do file, export selection, VX export, mouse, retop. Wait, where did I put that? File, export selection. Let's put that in downloads. Okay, let's go back to here. We can do this. I'm going to try duplicating this. Let's click on solo, and I'm going to go ahead and do file, import. Okay, if I'm going to try exporting that out actually as an OBJ. Selection, mouse retop, it's an OBJ, because then tends to handle OBJs better than FBXs. If I want to just import over this object, so let's see if this works. Import mouse retop OBJ. Oh, okay. Quads, there we go. So you can see it went ahead and just replaced my model. But it did say something about non-standard polygons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Maya, and I'm going to do mesh, clean up, and we're going to select faces, 4%, click apply. All right, so we got a couple. That's from the mirroring, most likely. Yep, so I just turn on smooth mode to find those at verts. Let's delete them. Object, click apply. Still got some more on the back and on the tail. Let's get rid of that one, and delete. Okay, still got some more. Here's some down here. Okay, no bad verts, and then I'm just gonna clean up non-manifold geometry if there's any. Click apply, and delete history, and then let's export our character again. Export, mouse retop. Let's go back into Zbrush, and then we're just gonna import mouse retop. There we go, and he's looking pretty good. We lost a little volume, so depending on what parts, I don't know what parts I would care about. You see, I also didn't get the mirrored side. And I would probably want to get the inside of the mouth too. But let's go ahead and turn off solo. So what I could do is let's turn off the eyeballs and the teeth for now. And so what we can do is we can turn this one on and turn on our retop one. We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna click on solo, so I'm only looking at the retop one, even though they're both visible. And then what I can do is, what I would do is I'd mask off areas, invert my selection, and then I would do project all, which could also be found underneath subtool project. So I'm just gonna select like key areas. The reason why I'm doing this is because there's some areas like the mouth that's probably not gonna project very well. So I'm just gonna come in here, invert that selection. If you can control tap on the mesh to soften the selection, and I'm just gonna click on project all. That doesn't really feel like a, a feature we need to bring back. Let's get the eye socket region. Okay, project all. The nose could do eyeballs back. Turn off the visibility on both of these guys. I'm just going to swap back and forth. Yeah, so the mouth, I'm just going to have to, put the mouth bag in and do the inside of the lips. And since it's ring topology, that should be really easy, just extruding the ring back and then closing off the nostrils. If I wanted like a little bit of a sharp line, because of the topology, I should be able to add in like an edge loop that goes here and goes that way. I would have to reconfigure this a little bit, but I think there's a way you can get a nice crease on that nose. The topology looks definitely feels better, right? Here, these are both at the low poly. Right. We also have a lot more topology in this area to work with too for if you need to open your mouth. You can see what the jaw's doing. I'll just remove that stuff. Move those edge flow going this way instead. And here we kind of gave a little bit more room on the neck shoulder region, which helps. But yeah. And then the ears are a little dense, but I don't think that really matters that much. It's not going to be the end of the world. And so yeah, if you can get to this spot, that'd be good. And then we can arrange a time to talk about the eyelids. What I might do is try to line up my edge loops in a way that's going to, you see this edge ring that goes around. I want to make sure it's kind of like the same distance around the eyeball, because that'll make it a lot easier later on. And we might even need another edge loop in here. But other than that, I think you should be good to go. I hope this helped. And I can send you this model in a second. And let's just flatten this area out. Really quickly, if you get into this situation where you're trying to smooth, but you keep getting these little bumps, let's just try masking this area, invert, control tap on mesh to soften the mask selection, control H to hide my mask. And then I'd run deformer. Ooh, okay, maybe not. That's control Z. And run polish, and there you go. So that can avoid some of the N-gon issues that you might run into where you're trying to smooth and then they show up as like little bumps. Move that stuff back. One of the things I kind of like about this and just in general good topology is I like it. You tend to be in a good spot when the low poly feels very representative of the high poly, right? That was a problem with this one is, a lot changes in the mouth area. And so if it's too different, then usually that means we don't have enough topology, in my opinion. So that's usually what I would do. So anyways, okay, I'm going to stop here.